What's up, guys? It's your boy Simon Says. I'm right now. We're doing a stream in the Cryptoverse server, and we're just gonna be going over, Bitcoin and um, the dip we've been having. We've been trying to kind of look for that dip. We can see that. Well, the bottom of the dip, we don't know where it is, but we could tell we're in like weekly support range. Like we haven't broken that 29K yet, so pretty much what we're looking at is just the overall market cap. We're 4.2 up right now. And we can see a little bit of a relief rally. Over the last 24 hours, Bitcoin's up 6%. Ethereum up 8. Some of the altcoins having a good day. Polkadot 25%, a steal of a price at $7, right? $7 to $10. That's pretty much a 25% gain. That's what you got on, return just by, buying up some of this fear that's been in the market now. That could be, retrace, 50%, because when these quick bounces happen on Bitcoin, 6% bounce, 25% bounce on Polkadot, will this move have, a 50% retracement on the fib? You're only up 15%. That's what this market does. And Bitcoin's at a key price, as you see most of these alts here on the side, right? Had a nice little bounce. The strong alts are the ones we want to be trading. But let's look at Ape, because, Ape is 33rd, and it's still one of the stronger altcoins. So in this market, we have to find out where the hype lies in the market, where the volume lies. So if we look at this, we can see all the volume that these coins have had, being traded. So there's been, oh my gosh. So there's been 2 billion, traded, and you can see the market cap is nearly 2 billion. So almost equal to, its market cap value in price. If this was all buys, it would 2x in price, but these are buys and sells. So that's factored in, and then you can see like some of the altcoins that aren't, producing much, or, bouncing is hard. I mean, this one did bounce hard, but you just go down and you can see how, the markets react. These altcoins are the lower caps. These only have 1 billion in it. When we get down to even, these are like, I'd say 1 to 50. I would say like 20 to 50 is mid caps, and then 50 to 100 is low caps. Start to see coins with like 100 million market share in it. And yeah, this is probably somewhere that we would find Luna at now. So let's see if we find it. Wow. So we'll be touching over Luna a little bit, as we can see that, from yesterday when we were on the stream, price was at roughly 4 cents. We've seen it drop, 50% in 1 minute candle. And now it's, multiple zeros, as we said. Like, there is no floor. They actually minted excess supply, so they diluted, the price. So the price is, still dropping. But all right, let's get into the chart. As we're at a key price action point right now. That's the fib from, the low of the impulse to, the top of our bounce that we've had. We can see that when we came down here, this is on Binance, we wicked 23,942, which is way down. And if you actually look at it on some other charts, notice that a lot of the exchanges have, different prices. This one's at 25,419. Binance was by far the lowest, 23. The most volume over there on Binance. For most exchanges, this one's 25. This one's 26. So notice how like that wick, that downside wick, was very manipulated on many exchanges. And if we kind of like dive into what this is, I'm trying to see what this is. All right, we have a lot of noise on this chart, but nonetheless, it's valid, right? We've had a very big downside test And pretty much what we had, if we take this off for a quick second, right? This was our chart. This simple, maybe $200 support and resistance area or zone was holding the support. Once we broke below, it came lower. If we look at the RSI, delete some of these dots so we could make them again. It's on the lower time frames. All right. So you look on, if we're looking in the oversold area, why was this bounce so hard, right? Why did we retrace? Why are we in a V-shaped recovery if we're so bearish, right? On a broader time frame. Well, you have to realize that now we're in a range. We've hit our ceiling. Our low ceiling looks to be about this is a 2 hour time frame, looks to be about like right here. So we'll mark this horizontally. Well, our floor, I should say. Let's delete these for a second, because those lines are all prior resistances. Because when you're mapping out an area where there's not really much support resistance over here, right? We can't really see much trend. It hasn't been ranging like we were. We're able to like box it in here, see the top. We're in like no man's land, right? This is a big retracement. We hit 23K on Binance. So it's a very important time in the market. But let's go over why we had to bounce, how we caught this long. And why I entered on, Ape instead of Bitcoin. Ooh, this is it right here, y'all boys. And it was really simple. 2 hour had a nice wick. We came into the zone. We spent 4 hours trying to get back above the zone. 1 hour, this 2 hour candle, we breached the zone. We hit the daily low as resistance. We come back below it, close here. 1 hour is spent, doji almost, but it's above the zone. Next hour we wick it. We come up, we test the daily low as resistance again. What we did was we also tested this order block for the time being. When this order block comes in, we could delete. Well, I'm not even going to delete this one, but we'll clean it up right here. So remember where we are. We just tested the order block. We tested the order block with 2 wicks, and then we come back. We close below the daily low. We weren't able to put a candle close above here, and then we come down. When we come down, we have to go into a lower time frame to really see what happened. But we could, you have to note the market structure. Notice, we didn't make a higher high here yet. So when we came back down, we kind of hit this bottom. We didn't make a lower low to here. And then we had this wick, and then we kind of were able to break through on this falling wedge that we had. Held the support of the zone, didn't try, to flip this ascending triangle that we had, and then carried on. So when we carried on, let's go down to even lower time frame so we can see the move. We go into the 15-minute time frame. We can see that when we kind of rejected here with the bearish divergence at the top, we went from this candle high to here, right? So that's going up, and then on the RSI, we had this high coming, descending. The bearish divergence took us down, and then what do you see? The red dots came in. We're above the 40 RSI, right? It was a double bottom, but on the price action, it was just slightly down. So when this wick comes in, to test the zone as a support, it doesn't even test. It tested over here. Pretty much what we did was, from this low to this high that we made, We retraced to the 786. It was a wick only. The candle bodies never closed below 786, and we continued. You could also, do that same retracement measured from the bottom. So this is why it's important to know which low you're gonna hold and where the tension is in the market, right? Because you could always do a different fib, but in this case, holding this low that held the zone was the higher low we made that continued bullish. Like right here, when we had this double top come up, that's a sign. I mean, it's not a double top, right? This high is obviously higher. We're making higher highs, but we didn't have that impulse to, break out of the triangle. We hit this resistance area that we once wicked. This is the area you might want to put a sell at. And then, we had almost like a triple top on the RSI right here. Maybe on a different time frame it was cleaner, but this is, on the 15. So going back to, that was our little 15-minute we entered on. And when I seen this dip come in, I simply just picked an alt because, if Bitcoin's having, a rough day, then the alts are having a rough day. But if Bitcoin can hold the line, then, some of the market cap could kind of come back into the altcoins. And when more market cap comes into altcoins, their gains are larger because, it's lower market cap than Bitcoin. So the percentage moves are, a lot more. So straight off the bat, we could just, measure from the bottom to, its first high that it made. So when it made this first high, we retraced, right? When we retraced, we hit the 0.50 level, and we actually wicked the 618. So just a 618 retracement, you put a buy, if it was that simple, right? So we have that one confirmation that we had. Note how when we came right here, this last doji before the first pump, notice how we held above the 40 RSI. We just held above it, and then we came through, a strong pump. This is on the 2 hours, so let's walk it down. We already know, the main trend. Everything has been bearish forever. This made us like lower low, and this coin is new. So this coin is really a lot of hype. When this coin, first came out, it had, its range where it was ranging from $14 to $10. If we look at that, playing field, that's about, 40% up, and then it's about 26% down. So pretty big range. And then, then it just has, expansion. Some, sideways action in Bitcoin. This actually pumped while the other market was, pretty bad. Like Bitcoin was only 40K, and this is pumping because this is Bored Ape Yacht Club. So, it has hype. Once, this has so much hype, Bitcoin can't hold the line. This was an easy short. We should have been plotting on this a long time. We have timestamps, but let's just say we would even cut it here, 15%. That's over like a 63% downside. Nothing to Luna, but yeah. All right, so that was on the 15-minute. And then look at the 15-minute here, just holding the 40 RSI. It wasn't really that much of a divergence, but remember, I just seen the divergence on Bitcoin and then just aped along, stop loss pretty tight, maybe at first below here. Maybe I didn't enter with all my capital at once. I had a DCA ready. I just didn't fire on the wick. So that's something you could also do, ladder positions if you believe in your position to average cost. So that way you ladder one position here, one position, at this low, one position maybe in the middle, and, this low holds. You'll be able to average in and take more margin on the way up. Less risk. So that's pretty much Ape, and you can see it's just doing a flag pattern, and I'm still just, monitoring Bitcoin just to see what the alts are doing. If we look at ETH to Bitcoin chart again, right, to see which price is stronger, either Ethereum or Bitcoin. This is ETH chart. I need to do my ETH chart again. We see pretty much we just bounced straight off this weekly trend line. We also hit oversold, but it's closing 4 hours, right? We're closing 4 hours, so we'll see how this kind of develops as the day goes on. But this chart moves kind of slow. We see we just try to get above the 40 RSI. We had a doji candle. Now we're testing it. Can we break this low of the doji wick, or will we hold support? So interestingly enough, Bitcoin is actually above 30K, and the alts, what are the alts doing? ETH is holding its own, but Bitcoin is gonna have to lead this pump. But just give me 1 second, guys. All right, we back, Cobras, with a little bit more energy. We're about to wrap it up in a second, but thank y'all for tuning in. I see y'all boys. A lot of real ones in this chat. All right, so let's see what's going on Bitcoin, real quick. Let's just go back to the other chart. I'm using this one, right? So this one was simple, and it's kind of, it's kind of Aki looking. This is, my first trend line. I didn't have it at first. Just 1 wick, 2 wicks. Now we see how we intersect, right? This is when we broke this trend line, we got above the zone, right? And then we started, testing this trend line again. So we hit it there for support. Then we kind of had an intersecting ascending triangle that was holding us. When we flip these, we have a downside test. That happens all the time. Notice how we just got back above the zone. Well, we didn't just get back above, but this hour candle did get back above, and now we've just been playing here for an hour consolidation. Well, 30 minutes. So we'll get back. We'll go deeper into there. But yeah, this zone is key. Really big zone. Let's go down on the time frames though. Nice close. So we just had, I think Sebastian pointed it out, we had like a morning star is called. If we go to the Discord, right, go to the bottom, we can see like candlestick techniques. Candlesticks. All right, maybe it's not here. But if you go to Cobra Crypto Don Education and his pins, or you could go on Google as well, download for yourself or something. But if you go here, you go to the Japanese candlesticks, the book right here, or the Bible. That's a really good thing to like develop your candle structure. I'll probably open that up real quick to go over this pattern, because we actually covered that pattern, right? In one of our streams. So boom, don't even need to download it. I'll link this in the Cobra voice chat. It's an easy read, right? Especially when you're learning market structure, you just need to skim through this really. But definitely good. So goes over some, chart candle patterns. This is, the engulfing bearish. But let's get to the morning star. I wish I just went down on the other thing, but it's all good. So boom, we've been going through this pattern a lot recently. It's been, pretty strong. It's a sign of, a reversal, how the sellers, couldn't sell anymore, kind of hit the bottom, and then we, kind of continued. Right now, we kind of see this on a 30-minute. We also see like an engulfing candle. So let's go down to even a lower time frame, 15 minutes. So here we see the butterfly doji come in actually, right? We see the downtrend couldn't really take us into oversold territory. We kind of hit like this level and we started evening out. Just butterfly doji, and then look at how we held that blue trend line, right? Where we had that touch here and, you know, the other highs we had. We came below this line for a second, you know, fake out, induce liquidity sweep of, you know, these areas. And then, you know, we're off again. If you kind of looked at this on like a 30-minute time frame, forgot where it wasn't 30 minutes then. 45. Look at how, you know, this top came in, price action. Then we have like, can't even do that. We have that top come in, and then we have, look at that doji. Another doji showing indecision in the market. Couldn't get a candle close on the 45-minute above, you know, this blue horizontal line. Couldn't break out. And then, you know, rejection. We flipped this trend line. Look how the 45-minute closes, you know, fully down. No wick to the downside. Retest trying to come in. Rejected. Closed here. Next downside. So, very interesting. Just got a 45-minute close. So, looking into that, we didn't quite engulf, you know, this pattern. So just like a little descending triangle we had right there, but notice how even, you know, this little falling wedge that we had coming out of, you know, our ascending triangle, when we start pinching, right, we hit the low here on the RSI, and then we come oversold again. Oh yeah, who's it? The boy, Crypto Boy, bringing in the fire. So here we just see, you know, nice kind of move playing out. What we could note is we're below the 60. Can, you know, the 5-minute get above the 60 RSI? Why did this pump out? Get this crypto. We see this, like, look at how when this wedge comes in, we have the first touch, one touch. We use a candle body close here, and then we have the third touch to make this like a solidified trend line. But this is only on a 5-minute. You know, this is a small chart pattern. But this is where we want to be catching our entry. So this is how it looks, you know, on the 5-minute. But if we went to, you know, if you're on like a 45-minute, notice that, you know, we're like, this is just like a retracement almost. And it's just, you know, a simple double top. And it's pretty much testing, you know, this last high that we had right here as a support. We have a little zone coming in right there as well. So it's just about which zones are important. Well, not which zones are important, but which zones have the most, you know, emphasis, as well as trend lines, right? So we see as soon as, you know, the butterfly doji came in on 15-minute downside test couldn't, you know, close below the wick or even test below the wick. That happens as well here on the 15-minute candle. Only a slightly higher close, but we see on the RSI, you know, I mean, it's pretty even, but still stuck at that 50 midpoint. Do we have to come back, you know, test around the 40 RSI is like a support? You know, this area. Maybe test this midline as, you know, a support, and then we hold the zone, and then we, you know, continue. But it's tough. It's really a tough point for crypto right now. I do still feel like we are at the time that we need to be, you know, buying up some spot bags for long term, just DCAing in as we go. So now that 5-minute wedge is kind of played out, we could take that off. And we could kind of look for like what held us up here, right? So we kind of see this wick. That kind of looks like a strong trend line. So let's see. So you want to look for like wicks, but you also need like 3 touches, right? So, and with all this chop, there, the chart patterns are often going to be like, it's not just going to be clean. It's going to be a lot of like almost like bodies intersecting. So we extend this, we could also extend, this one. Then we have like our kind of like our larger macro ascending triangle now. "45-minute did get above the 50, but this needs to continue. This needs to engulf this candle. This is still, a lower high. But yeah, I think that's about it for the Cobra sessions. We got a double top coming in on the 5-minute. Doji. Notice how, the double top came in, had a nice impulse down, right? We see the divergence. This high is equal to this high. This high closed here. This is just a little bit higher. But now we could also say, like, this is why the 5 minutes, so, it's tough to read. We can see that, now it's a bullish divergence as well. So it kind of, there's consolidation on the RSI as well until you get these, moves of volume that kind of like sweep the board and make everything correlated again on an hourly time frame. This is also, the reason why we broke down, but it still didn't give us, it hasn't broke down as hard as we've been breaking down in this bear market, right? Like, usually if we get a double top, we would have, retraced 50% already. But this climb it hasn't been just a quick V shape. It's been a pretty slow and steady V-shaped recovery, if you would say, to like this top. It's been pretty V-shaped because it's just been mitigated. Like, hasn't been going up too quick. You see like entry here, 618, almost back to entry, then we pump. This one comes back, almost 50% of this pump. And now do we continue above the zone? Everyone's thinking short, everyone's fear out their mind, everyone's screaming Luna FUD. Like, that was probably the sweep, guys. That was probably the liquidation sweep. I wanted to see this range now between 25 and 35K. Hopefully, that 35 to 30K, holding 30K as a psychological support is the only test that matters today. It's the only test that matters today. It's been testing for like so long. This channel was really beautiful looking back on it, right? Like, simple, just like rising wedge channel, hit the top, weekly doji, engulfs, Where's this weekly gonna close? We have 2 days left. We're still like below the wick. Are we still below the wick? We're barely above these wicks. So like these wicks are now acting as resistance over here. That's actually what I was gonna point out. Look at these wicks. So this is the only prior price action we've had in these areas, right? So if we go on to the daily time frame, where is price? Price is hiding on a line or something. Oh, it's white, so you can't see it. Yeah, price is right here. The price is right here, 30,000, right? And we just see like on this day, like, have we made a daily close lower than here? I think we did. Let's see. We did make a daily close lower, and then Did anybody else see, you know, this big doji that came in, right? Like price literally closed here, went all the way down here, all the way, you know, up to this line, 29, like a little bit above 30K. Let me go to a clean chart. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry. This one will work. Yeah. So notice how like price came all the way down, you know, 26,000, and remember on a lot of exchanges, Binance was 23,000, Bitstamp was 25,000, different prices, you know, inducing liquidity. You know, we have this kind of double bottom form. When this doji comes in, that's when the price, you know, the RSI just goes sideways. Notice how like we did have, you know, bullish impulse up to almost the open of, you know, that bearish candle, but we couldn't close above it. Notice how we have 4 hours left. We're trying to break oversold, but we still, you know, you see this shoulder or this right top or this, you know, bullish candle we had right here, this pause. We're now above that. So is that a divergence? Is, you know, are we gonna stay below oversold right here, right? Are we gonna stay below oversold and like act as resistance, or is, you know, are we gonna have some strength to finish the day? But let's go back just to real quick. We're just gonna do a quick zone mark out. And I think this is the first chart I ever used. So if you go back to like here, you'll probably see some really funny charts. But yeah, where are we looking? Just the lows. Let's get the zone. Let's get the zone. Get these wicks, right? So we're playing in this area right here. Let's get that last candle body to could extend the zone down some, right? Could go like that. I like that better because nope. I'm gonna leave this wick out of it, right? This wick is at 27K or 28K, and that's, you know, that's kind of like a scam wick before it continues. Before, you know, the bullish impulse. So this is a fake out bear side, and then a strong bullish impulse. So we see how strong this zone is held in support, even up to this zone where we actually closed, you know, a candle close in it, then we flew out. So let's just keep going across. And it's almost, you know, right at that wick top of, you know, the last doji. And this is the area that we're fighting. Getting above this zone. We wick below it, but, you know, after a long day yesterday, we still closed at 28K. So when we go down on these time frames, it's all about where is the higher low going to form. Is this, you know, higher low on the hourly chart? Now we could continue. On a 4-hour chart, you know, this is a downside test. Still a lower low, technically, but 16 minutes left in the candle. Are we going to go for this high? You always got to look for the next high. This is the next high. This is, you know, the next low. Kind of just pinching. Could do some trend lines. It's not as solid at the bottom. Like, I wouldn't do a trend line like that, right? We have to be able to be like almost symmetrical with our trend lines. This would be more of that wedge that we were looking for, right? On a higher time frame, this might have been like a wedge or a channel. Could still be in like a bear flag channel, but we've kind of tested that, and right, kind of holding support for now. So like the support, I'll do like this, kind of like a cutting trend line. We're not gonna get 3 candles all the time, but maybe on a lower time frame we will. At least we got 2 touches on a high time frame, which is like a 4-hour. Maybe we can do a little bit like that. There we go, 3 touches. to find, your solid trend lines, this could also be a horizontal, and this is just a descending triangle, right? Something like that. But for right now, we're gonna stick with this ascending base. Doji on the 3 hour. Doji comes in, sweeps the lows, closes very low. On the 3 hour, if we look at this candle body, right, the high to the low, or the low to the high. Let's see, where did we hit? 618 retrace. Well, now this is measuring the candle body, but what I'm noting is we wick below it, but we mitigated, right? This candle closed at the 50% mark. So this candle's now mitigated. As you know, that's what we were looking for. That's something we look for in these markets. So if we were to continue up, this would be, it wouldn't be, exaggerated. It would have some correlation. We're just continuing to make, higher lows and higher highs. Two hour, just bouncing off the 50, still battling the zone. You see how we're holding the zone of support for a while. Fell back in, not a good thing. Double top. 1 hour was the time frame to to probably capitalize on. Just, the double top, and then this is just slightly building. We also see small wicks, all dojis, indecision. One little fake out to get every little person that enters here, and then down. I'm not too familiar with the 3 crows, but that's a chart pattern I want to learn. It's like 3 crows or 3 kings. It's like 3 strong bearish candles, one after another, but I'm not sure if these qualify. I like how this hourly engulfed this bearish candle. Now we just need to hold support above that open. 45-minute looks kind of better. You see that morning star pattern we're looking at on our chart patterns. And then, this is, 30-minute doji on 30-minute, right at the 50 RSI, midpoint of the RSI. Is it going to reject? It's something you have to monitor. Or is it, we haven't, closed lower than the doji, price hasn't pushed lower. Is it still going to act as a support? Double top. Double top on the RSI, almost equal candles, volume is coming. Since we're on such a low time frame, we see on the downtrend, this is downtrend. This is, actually an uptrend. As we've been making higher highs, you could do a fib. This would be a retracement. You might get a 618 retracement. If you break this 618 and hold candle closes below, the trend will stay bearish, or, we'll make a lower low. If not, it could be a higher low and we could continue up. Earlier, we were looking for that 40 RSI to hold. We'll still see if that test comes in. Yeah, that's about it, guys. Double top above the under the 60. Little doji, and then not much volume right now, but it is what it is. About to test the 50 here. Little bit of a wedge. And wedge, then you got sideways action, right? A little descending. A little tighter if you wanted to, but probably wouldn't do that. See how much, it comes back on this retracement. And then if it breaks that low, check your higher time frames. If this comes all the way back here, we would obviously make a lower low. Maybe test the zone again, or this zone as a support. we've already, tested these highs and bounced. Will it hold as a support, or, will we flip it back? 30K, guys. That's about it for today.